Hi everyone, Steve from the Audiophiles. Welcome. Fun one today. I always say that, but this is the Audiophile Vinyl State of the Union with Michael Fremer from Trackingangle.com. And if you haven't, hit that subscription button. It helps me a ton. Ring that bell. And if you're in Vancouver, or if you want to go online, hificenter.com, 433 Carroll. You can see the B&W speakers, the Mac stuff. We have it all here. Check out our website. Now let's get to Michael Fremer and the state of the Audiophile Vinyl Union. We'll see you on the other side of the Audiophiles. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Audiophile Roundtable with my special guest, the one and only from Trackingangle.com, Michael Fremer. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. I know we've been going back and forth, and today's topic to start off with is, and we can talk about this, and I know you're going to lead into it, is I'm calling it the state of the Audiophile Vinyl Union. And you being sort of the senior in the union, you have your hands on it, know a few things. You can tell me maybe where we're at in terms of your thoughts on vinyl sales, demand, and then we can get into where we're at with sort of audiophile vinyl. And, I think it's more like the expensive premium box sets and where we're at there. So I'll let you take it away. Thanks for joining me today for this hour. And I think we got a jam-packed set here. So we got lots to talk about. So let's start with the Audiophile Union here. What do you think? What's going on?
So I was at the Making Vinyl event last week in Minneapolis. And after that was over, I went over to Audio Research and did a video tour. And I'm going to get that edited and posted tonight for people who think Audio Research is going away. They're fine. It'll be fun. So Making Vinyl was really, really interesting. It was the best one they've ever had. And they've been doing this for about 10 years now, I guess. This was the biggest attendance they've ever had. And there were like 500 people there from all over the world, talking about it. There were great seminars, great panels. I ran 2 panels. And Billy Fields from Warner Music said, this year, the record industry is going to sell 52 million new records. That's 1 million records a week. New records. Forget about used records. That's a whole nother huge market. So it's strong. The pressing plants, they were like 50, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but a very small number of pressing plants were operating 20 years ago. And now there's an explosion of pressing plants. Now people are worried that there's going to be too much capacity, but we're quite a ways away from having too much capacity.
And that's what I wanted to start with. It's like the state of the Audiophile Union. Where are we at? Because we're past the COVID, 3 years out from that. We know what happened when we were hoveled up in home for 2 years, buying records, going on these forums, watching your videos or watching other videos and getting all excited about some of the stuff that was coming out. Now, in terms of the audiophile pressings, you got the Mofis, you got the APs, now RHINO's into the game. All the other guys. Where do you think of these premium box sets are going? Is that going to be? Are you hearing more of these being sold or less, or where are we going with that?
It depends. I don't have a handle on retail sales because I don't do retail sales.
Yeah.
But judging by what's coming out, the box sets are doing fine. The individual records are doing fine. Vinyl sales are good. Probably the expensive box sets, if the economy cools off a little bit more, will probably tail off a little bit. But I don't think, because records are not really expensive. They're not. And so if you're sitting around and you got nothing to do, you go online or you go to a store and you see a box for $100 or something, so you buy it. I ordered the BMP box of the Miles Davis electric stuff.
Nice.
That's coming out. And I get sent a lot of records, and I still buy a lot of records. I've got a whole bunch of records here to talk about with you.
Oh, I'm excited about that. And then the VMP box, Vinyl Me Please, Miles Davis electric box, was the first. And now is the first 2000 all analog? I know I read something about that in some comments. Can you elaborate on that, or do you know? Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know why they would stop making them analog and go to a digital.
It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense.
So much stuff you read online doesn't make any sense.
Well, I know. And I wanted to show you Tim Hortons there, my viewers, and not in Canada. This is my go-to coffee. This is the big coffee. When you come up to Vancouver, anywhere in Canada, I know, Michael, you probably have it, Tim Hortons. You'll come up to Vancouver to visit me. We're going to go to Tim Hortons. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, sounds like a good idea. As I said to you, I roast my own beans. I'm kind of a fan.
I know you said that. That's you probably won't like this, son. You'll be like, ah. So okay, so some news going on. So you're feeling the audiophile market. I mean, to an extent, I think it's the demand though. What I'm seeing is there's more. I mean, if you go to the Mofi site or AP's, acoustic sounds. I mean, there's a lot of sales going on. Okay, there's more in stock. There's more in stock now than ever before than post.
That's a problem.
Or during COVID, I should say. Go for it.
So like I said to Chad Castle, I said, Chad, you're having all these big sales. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Demand drying up? And he said, no. He said, man, you know what I was doing? I was just said, oh, I'll get 1,000 of those. I'll get 1,000 of those. I just can't do that anymore. Well, he never should have done it. So if you start ordering, a new record comes out, you order 1,000, and 1,000 and 1,000. That's a lot of records. So he has to cut back. So he's trying to clean out some stock, but
it helps cash flow out too, I'd assume, right? So
exactly. But and it depends what you're selling. I don't know that, every time I open my mouth about Mobile Fidelity, it's, well, you have a thing about Mobile Fidelity, which I don't. I'm past what happened, and the class action suit is being settled. Is going to be an ad.
You and I in nauseam have talked about it on this show. So I mean, we're pretty done with it. So
they've got a class action suit that was settled, and people will be able to send in their records and if they want to get money back, they'll be able to get money back.
And guess what? With that lawsuit, because I'm Canadian, it was basically lawsuit was I think originated in Washington, so Canadians aren't part of that class action, so we couldn't get our money back if we wanted to.
Well, you could send the record to an American and get it back that way. But
I'm not doing that. I don't care.
I know. Who's going to bother? I don't bother with any class action suits anymore. The only people that make money on class action suits are the lawyers.
The lawyers.
You sign up for it, and you get a check for 35 cents. It's
wow.
Wow, I'm rich. So I don't do that anymore. But I don't. Some of the reissues they're doing, I don't know who's going to be buying more Joni Mitchell records.
Well, here's the thing. I got a list.
Love Joni Mitchell, but
I love he's Canadian. I love Joni Mitchell, of course. Yep. We just today or yesterday, was it today or yesterday? Mofi is coming out with 7 Steps to Heaven, the Miles Davis super vinyl, 180 super vinyl. Does that excite you?
That could be good. That's a good record. Some of them, like I said all along, I don't care what they were sourced from. Their Miles Davis, some of that stuff was really, really good because the original, something happened at Columbia Records. It's when they switched over from tubes to solid state. Originally, things didn't sound very good. A lot of those quintet records did not sound great. So their versions of them sound really, really good.
I really enjoy my Mofi Miles. I really do. I like them. They sound really good to me as well. Right. We got The Boss coming out. Greetings from, what is it, Ashbury Park? That's supposed to be coming out.
All of their look, Miles Davis records. I mean,
Bruce Springsteen.
Records, none of them sounded any good.
No, it was. They were made for FM radio. I felt. I mean, really,
and very compressed. And the box set that was done with Jamie Haworth's.
I have the Platinum process. It sounds great, and I also have
the best sounding versions of
and the Vinyl Me Please Nebraska record that I have sounds great as well.
Yeah, and so those are good. I don't know why people are going to buy expensive Bruce Springsteen records. He doesn't even sell out concerts anymore. Sorry,
and that's what I'm getting at in terms of these expensive premium box sets. I think it's hit or miss. I really do. That's why I mean, Mofi is going to be coming out at some point with the entire Van Halen catalog. Is that going to be a big?
Who's buying them?
I don't know. I won't.
Who's buying that? I don't know. I don't know who's going to be buying these titles.
I was at my local record store and I can get an original Canadian pressing, hardly been played, and he's selling 1984 and then the self-titled. Right now we're in the new arrival bins. They're selling for $10 each Canadian.
Yeah, and there were some good Van Halen reissues that were done. Yep. By Warner Brothers, not Warner Brothers. Was it Warner Brothers? Yeah, whoever. Yeah,
Kevin Gray would have cut some of those, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he cuts it. There were some good ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's buying Van Halen records at this point in time, but okay, maybe people. You never know what people want. By the way, one of the statistics that came out at this Making Vinyl event was that 41% of the people who buy records don't play them.
We had this conversation in our last chat, and I gave you the stat. I gave you the stat. My stat when we talked last time was 50%.
Yeah, well, this is the Illuminate study, which is pretty good, and it's 20% of the people don't own turntables.
I know.
Buy records. 41%. There's another 20% that have turntables but don't bother playing them anymore. They just stream. And they buy the records as souvenirs. People buy stamp collectors don't lick stamps and put them on envelopes and mail them because they're collectible. So a lot of these people are buying these records because they think they're going to be collectible in the future. But I think if you buy records as a financial instrument, you're being really stupid. Because,
well, think about this, right? If you're buying records as a financial institution, you're buying Mofi's One Steps at the height of the pandemic, Paul Simon, Crazy After All These Years for $150. Guess what? That's a $60 record right now.
that's not a good sounding record either.
Well, it sounds like shit, but I'm just saying that's the price you pay. So,
they should really have done a little more self-editing after they get the tape in or whatever, or they DXD the tape or whatever, and they play it against an original and go, you know what, this is not that great.
Yeah,
let's not do this.
I don't know what they base it on. I know, like, talking with Kevin Gray and some of the mastering engineers, and I know you've talked to them as well. They have a source. They'll have the original record to listen to really get an idea or baseline. So I'm not sure what they're using.
If they get the original, look, Kevin will cut from digital if he gets sent digital. He does that for Sundays, right? A lot of Sunday stuff is digital, and some of it's analog though. Lately, Jay Miller's been sending tapes.
Yeah.
So there's a Buck Owens that's from tape. In fact, I have this one right here.
Buck Owens is from tape, and there is one other one I can't remember. You might.
Western Union.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Direct from tape. Kevin was telling me. That would be. How's that sound? Have you listened to it?
I haven't played it yet. But I have played the Buck Owens, and it's great. And I got to write about that because
yeah. I mean, I think those two are the only two out of the Sundays catalog right now that Kevin's cut from tape so far, if I'm not mistaken.
But he cut a lot of great Motowns from tape.
Yeah.
And all the Motowns are supposed to be burned up in the fire, but they weren't.
Oh, that whole thing, that whole New York Times article really screwed with people, right?
They won't retract the
Why?
Part. Not true. That paper's gone to crap. I used to love the New York Times. I'm banned from the New York Times now. They used to publish.
So you and Donald Trump have something in common then.
Yes, they used to publish, like, you can comment on stories online.
Oh, really?
Publish all my comments. I had really good. I'm a good writer. I had good comments. They published them all, and then they started having stupid things. Like they had this thing about true or false. I mean, these statements. We analyze the statements from the candidates. So Ron DeSantis said there's lower crime in the state of Florida than 25 cities, the 25 top cities in America. Now, what does a state's crime records have to do with a city's crime records? You know what? Nothing. But instead of the woman saying, well, I'm not even going to bother to give you the answer to this because that's this guy's trying to punk me. He's gaslighting. We're not going to compare the state of Florida to 25 cities around the country. But no, she said partially true because she never even understood. And I sent them a letter. I said, do you have an editor there who's reading this stuff? You actually published a thing where the woman said partially true to a nonsensical gaslighting statement? No. And so they ended up banning me. So none of my comments get published.
Oh, wow.
They will not retract that story.
Okay.
They should retract it and rewrite it and explain that a lot of, like they said, the Buddy Holly catalog was burnt up. It wasn't because
it wasn't.
Anyway.
And Buddy Holly doesn't Paul McCartney own Buddy Holly? Doesn't he own the tapes?
Or he may own the publishing, not the tapes.
Publishing. Sorry, that's what I meant.
A big
publishing.
Difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're feeling. I mean, overall, vinyl seems strong. Maybe audiophile a little bit less, depending on the titles. It sounds like.
We don't. Yeah, if you put out a bad title, you're not going to sell too much of it. Whether the public today really wants Van Halen and heavy metal from that era and hard rock from that era, at this point the market's pretty saturated. We'll find out. And so, do they want a $150 copy of it? I don't think so. And that's a good segue. So we have RHINO's Hi-Fidelity coming into the market last month, or was it this month? Anyways, they came out with the Coltrane Sound, and they also came out with the Cars, self-titled. The Cars is really, really good.
And I meant to print off your article before we met, but I wasn't able to. You did wrote a really good article on the Cars self-titled that RHINO and Kevin Gray did. So maybe you want to touch upon that. It was really, really well done.
Sure. So I compared an original George Marino Sterling pressing with the Mobile Fidelity with a Japanese pressing.
Why the Mobile Fidelity? That's painful.
Well, because I had it, and that was made from before the digits. It was old. They did it a long time ago. And even if it was the digits, I still wanted to hear what it was. And also the RHINO. So there were four different tapes, four different versions. Yeah. So the original George Marino was very, very good. Mm-hmm. The top end was. This record's got to be crisp sounding. Those guitars.
I love the guitars on them.
Yeah, and that was crisp. And they were a Boston band, and I was in Boston when that record came out. And in fact, in my article, I wrote that I opened for the Cars in a comedy group I was in, and that was fun. Yeah. But anyway, enough about me. So that was good. The Japanese one was really good. I mean, sometimes Japanese pressings are bright and they knock off the bass, but no, this was really good.
Yeah.
And then I played the Mofi, and it was mushy.
It was, yeah.
The top end lost all the crispness to those guitars. All the transients were softened. It wasn't, for whatever reason, it was not good. And the artwork was terrible.
Let me start with the Mofi. Is it Silver Label? I can't remember if it's Silver Label.
No, it was from the original master tape.
What year was it? Because they weren't. This is
and Warner Brothers would send out tapes.
They did. So was this pre DSD? This one?
Yes, it was.
It was okay. That's what I meant to say.
Just not a good cut. Or they may, sometimes these labels, the audiophile labels, quote unquote, soften things up for the audiophile's liking. Chad almost did that when Chad did Tea for the Tillerman. The story behind Tea for the Tillerman is really interesting.
Great album.
Okay, so the original Pink Label Island, everybody loves. That was
Pink Label's great.
That was cut at Sterling Sound. A lot of those islands were cut in America at Sterling Sound. Yeah. And the big difference between the A&M versions and the Pink Labels were simply the plating and the pressing were that much better, that it sounds like a different record. Oh, it didn't work. I'm still getting beat.
We tried.
Okay. Yeah. So what happened there, and this came out later, is Lee Hulko, who cut that, thought it was a Dolby tape, and it wasn't. So he put the Dolby on, and so that record, the Pink Label Island, it has a mushy, soft,
interesting,
sweet, wonderful sound. Oh, I love that. But he was playing like an Ovation guitar with a plastic back, and when he would go, I know, ba-bum, that should be like cheese grater. It should slice right through your head. And the Mofi, the UHQR that was made by Stan Ricker decades ago, is bright the way it should have sounded.
And we're talking T of Tillerman so far, just so everyone knows.
Right.
Cat Stevens. Okay.
Yeah, the old. And so Chad cut it and sent me a test pressing. He goes, man, I think the audiophiles are not going to like this, man. It's real bright. It'll cut your head off. And I played it. I said, but that's what it's supposed to sound like, because the Pink Label Island that everybody loves doesn't sound right. He says, well, I'm just going to cut and tamp it down a little bit. So he sent me a tamped down copy. And I said, Chad, do not release it. Give him that Ovation sound when he goes, I know. Boom. Yeah. That strum should, it should make your ears bleed. And it does. And that's what he did the right thing. But anyway, that's
okay. So then we have going back to the cars. I mean,
I'm colluding with Chad Kesem. It's true.
I know you're not.
He colludes with Chad. Okay.
The cars. I mean, I think you have the rating on the top of your article. It was 10 for sound, or 9 for sound, or 10. Explain to the viewers what it was. I can't remember the exact.
I don't remember the number.
It was very high, very impressive.
Yes, because it's the best version of it.
So tell me why, though. Tell the viewers why it was, though. What are you hearing? Was it the lower end? I mean, what was it that really stood out for you?
So first, three-dimensionality was really amazing. So I was surprised by the three-dimensionality.
Right, you mentioned that.
Roy Thomas Baker did it,
Yeah.
And some of the comments online were so stupid. Oh, well, what Kevin did was he boosted the bass and he destroyed the Roy Thomas Baker
let me
sound.
Stop right there. Kevin Gray, I've asked him that, and he said that he didn't filter out the bottom end at all.
No,
basically, what you're hearing is the exact bass from the tapes, is what he said.
Right.
Whereas the original would have been filtered down because of skipping the record back in the 70s or 80s, whenever that was. Right?
I had Greg Calvi over here last week, so I'm going to name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Greg was over, and we compared all these different versions. And what's interesting about the original is it starts out kind of like I said, the bass cut, and as the record goes on, he increased the bass. George Marino, as the tape ran, he pumped it up a little bit. So I guess it was for the singles he cut it down. Yeah. So it's actually better than I thought, but Kevin's is still the best one. If you love that record, it's a classic record.
I love that record. I grew up I grew up with it. My dad has got tons of Canadian originals. I have the Canadian original that was pressed by Sterling Sound, but Canadian, whatever. It sounded Master Story, but pressed in Canada somewhere, Mississauga, Ontario. I loved it. I've loved it growing up. That's the record I listened to growing up. But the RHINO one just blew it away in terms of overall clarity. Oh yeah, I love the labels too. I love the fact that it's like it differentiates himself. Like it has the RHINO Hi-Fidelity. I love that idea.
I like it to a certain degree. I like original labels to be on a lot of these records because Mofi always has their own label also.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like a real facsimile, but it doesn't matter in this case. Look, it's that good. Now, as far as the Coltrane sound, I think that was an interesting choice. So this is their
Yeah.
This is not theirs. I can't find theirs.
I just finished listening to that the RHINO version a few days ago.
This one is the Org Music Double 45. So I haven't heard that, but that's not in print anymore.
And the Org has some great stuff as well.
Great, absolutely. I saw Rossiter, the guy that owns the company, at Making Vinyl. So, I'll show you something else I found at Making Vinyl. This is really interesting. This is a record made out of recycled plastic bottles.
Come on, that's cool.
Swear to God. So he gave me a copy of a silent.
Is it one song? It doesn't look like this.
It's nothing, no modulations, just silent.
Okay.
He said, I want you to put this on and hear how quiet these records are. They're dead quiet, and they're pressed on recycled plastic bottles. And the label is not a paper label. After the record comes out of the press, it goes on another machine and it gets silk screened.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting.
Is it 180 gram? What's the weight?
This one seems like it's about 140. Okay. Then there was a guy there who has a new vinyl formulation. It's a company that makes all kinds of plastic. They make PVC for piping and everything else.
Yeah.
But they've got a supply of PVC, special, formulation for pressing records that's made out of recycled cooking oil.
Oh, cool.
Biodegradable. And after you play the record, if you don't like it, you can eat it. So it's good.
Oh my God.
It's a joke.
Or just you use that on your pasta to, whatever. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we got to ERC's Monk's Music. That one, I got an email today. I'm not going to buy it because it's expensive. Right. It's $350 sterling pounds. That's like $1,000 Canadian. I'm joking, but it's expensive. Your thoughts on Monk's Music? I'm sure you have the original. I think you showed me before we got on the last ERC that just came out. It was a classical.
Classical title.
Let's have a look at that one.
Okay, it's here. It's this one right here.
I can't remember it.
Ravel, it's Andre Cloutens, Paris Conservatory Orchestra.
Yeah.
1960, and this is Ravel was so. I love his music. It's very.
And then we were talking about that, Michael, too. I mean, that's one area or one genre I'm not that up on is the classical music. So I've had some viewers ask me, "Hey, do you know much about classical?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, I don't." It's definitely something I want to get more into.
I'll do that video. I promise. I've got all the records. I pulled it out when I had my previous Endeavor website. I was going to do a video on here are things that are accessible that you'd like, and a lot of them actually you may not know the music, but you've heard it. You know the music.
Of course. Well,
I thought that was cartoon music, that happens.
Okay. Yeah. I played band in high school and we had to listen to, when you're 15 years old, you're like, oh, this stuff here, but I really want to get back into that. So let the viewers know at some point you're going to have like almost a classical album for dummies video. Would that be fair to say?
I won't say it's for dummies.
Well, fine. You can say it's for me. Then.
No. I'll say it's classical music for morons. It's much better than
that's fine. I'll be clicking on that one right away. Wait till the bell rings. I'll be quiet on that. All right. So RHINO Hi-Fidelity, Cars is great. Coltrane, I thought sounded really good as well. I had nothing to compare it to. So, that's not an album that I actually, I'd streamed it before, but I don't have a.
And you know where that came from. That was recorded the same session as My Favorite Things, which was an extremely popular record.
Love that album.
That was the first jazz record I ever got, and I got that. I went, like you were talking about, and you want to get into jazz. So I went into classical. I went into this store in the Lower East Side in the early 1960s when I was a kid, and I said I want to get into jazz because rock has turned into crap. It's all Fabian and Frankie Avalon, and I must have outgrown rock and roll. What should I get? And this guy took out My Favorite Things, and he handed me this. He says, "This is the song My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music." I said, I know that. Yeah. He goes, well, you play this guy's version of it, and it's going to start out. You'll know it. You'll know that, da, 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 da. You'll know that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's going to get really weird, and you're going to go, what is going on here? And you're going to get uncomfortable, and you're going to feel like you're lost at sea, and you're going to say,
my God, you know what? That's the greatest description. Cause that's when the first time I heard that, that's exactly what I felt. Yeah. It was just a really weird trip. How's that?
Yeah. Exactly. Make it go away, make it stop. And then all of a sudden he'll come back to the melody, and you go, and then each time you play it, it'll get more, you'll understand more what he's doing. And then finally, you'll just go along with that, and it'll be fine. And you'll know exactly what he's doing. You'll understand what he's taken the melody and what he's done to it. And then you'll understand somewhat of jazz improvisation, and you'll be a jazz.
Did Coltrane, did he record that one prior to that album or before or after? Do you know?
It was the same session.
Same session. Oh, okay. Session. Isn't that amazing? Hey, I still think, going back to Miles Davis Kind of Blue, where they basically just, here's some notes of what I want to do here, Bill, here, do this here, and they go and record this Kind of Blue album. It's crazy what these guys were doing back then.
Okay. that's a perfect segue into the jazz record I am releasing.
Okay.
I am releasing a jazz album, and it's not me playing, thank God.
No kidding.
What this is a an LP. These are lacquers of it I brought to Munich. People loved it. So Rufus Reed is a very famous jazz bassist. Many people know Rufus Reed. So I went to an event in New York in January at a place called the Clavier House, which is basically a piano showroom. It's a store.
Nice.
They restore pianos, and they were having a series of recitals. They also have a performance space there. So it's like 50 seats and a beautiful Fazioli grand piano.
How are the acoustics? Like they have it really nicely acoustically.
Really good. The acoustics are great. And so David Chesky was there one Saturday, and I came to watch him play. And he was great because he's a good pianist. And because a friend of ours ran this thing named Jim Luce. He ran a bunch of concerts. And when COVID hit, his concert business dried up. So we went there to support him. He did a thing called Jazz Piano Marathon New York. So we go in there, and a bunch of young kids sat down and played, and they were good. All of a sudden, Rufus Reed walks in.
Wow.
Ooh, what's he doing here? Rufus comes in, and Jim Luce goes, I've known Rufus Reed a real long time. And I say to Rufus, who's the next cat? Who's the next cat? Who should we be listening to? And then Rufus goes, I want to introduce you to young Kalen Cardello. So this little young guy, 20-year-old kid, Kalen Cardello, sits down with Rufus. They look at each other and they start playing. And in about 5 minutes into this first tune, which was it was called first tune was called Mean What You Say. And it's an original by Rufus, I believe. And I said to my friend Robin, I was with Robin Wyatt, who sells BG cartridges. I said, Robin, it's too bad this isn't being recorded. It's unbelievable. And Robin says, it is being recorded. Our friend Duke Marcos is back there engineering this. I said, great. Let's see how this goes. So they keep playing. And I guess the third track, Rufus goes, Kalen and I never played together.
Oh my gosh.
But I've been traveling around and watching him play. And I thought we should play together. So I invited him to this event. And I sat down with him an hour before the show, and we decided on the tunes we were going to do. And we came in here and did them live. Most people don't like the unknown, don't like what they're not familiar with, but we're jazz musicians. We like that. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm telling you, this concert was magic. This kid is incredible. It's like Bill Evans. That's kind of, it's up tempo. But he's really, really good and technically and fearless.
Well, I think that's the thing with spontaneity too, right? I mean, you're really getting the most creative juices out of these people right there. So you're really feeling that and feeling the emotional impact.
And it was great. So
is that the acetate you have in your head?
These are acetates of both sides.
I have just a question for you. I know I'm going to just another thing, because I'll forget. I just got some acetate sent to me by, and I won't name who, but they sent me some acetates to listen to. Now,
and they didn't send them to me. Who do you think you are? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to emulate you one day.
Okay, good choice.
Thank you. How many times can I play them before they get really crappy?
All right. So I brought my lacquer of Tommy that I have.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, 45 RPM. I got that in 2006. I have played it dozens of times.
Okay.
It still sounds incredible. They will play.
I was told 5 to 10 times max.
If 5 to 10 times and you start losing something, but not that much.
Okay.
If you don't brush it.
I know. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it, and don't make sure it's in a room that doesn't have a lot of moisture, because mold will grow on it, and then you're finished. I have got a bunch of them with mold on it. They were in the wrong room, but the Tommy's is really good. So they'll last longer than you think.
Okay.
So this record, this is so good. We mixed it numerous times. I mean, I had Duke. I walked backstage and there was Duke, and he did it with multiple microphones, 2 in the piano, really good sound. And I sent them to Joe Harley, the tone poet, and I had Joe help me figure out how to place the instruments on the sound stage, where to put them.
Yeah, of course.
Then we worked on the EQ, because there's only 2 instruments. We worked on the EQ. We got it just the way we liked it. And then I sent it to Bob Ludwig on a whim. And I was prepared to Bob to say, don't bother me. But
Bob doesn't want to be bothered. He goes, don't bother me, Steve. I email him once a month. He says, don't bother me.
Well, Bob got back to me and said,
you're lucky.
Well, I have a relationship with Bob for a long time.
Yeah.
So Bob got back to me and said, you know what? I think everyone's going to know this kid in 5 years. So I want to master this. So Bob mastered it for me. And it was good when I sent it to him. When it came back, it was like a really good facelift. Like you don't notice that the person looks any different, but they look different somehow. And he just like put everything in the pocket where it belongs. And I got it cut. This was cut out at the Chad's place at Blue Heaven Studios by Matthew Luthans. He cut it on Doug Sax's mastering gear.
Of course, yeah. So what's the provenance? We don't have any DSD gate issues here. Tell us the provenance.
This is a 9624 recording.
There you go.
Digital recording with great microphones, and it sounds phenomenal. And I brought it to Munich, and everybody loved it. And so the jacket is the artwork is just about finished.
Where we'll be able to find this?
Well, we're going to press. I'll tell you what I think. So I went to an event for Christian McBride. He had an event at OMA Studios, and all the New York jazz cognoscenti were there. And so, because Christian's record was being introduced, and we were sitting around with a bunch of guys, and I said, "So, have any of you heard of Kalen Cardello?" That's this young man's name. And they go, "Oh, we know Kalen. We someone's going to sign. Kalen's going to go places. Someone's going to sign Kalen." And I said, "I'm putting out his first record."
So do you have your own record label, or how is this done?
It's Liam Records. That's Liam.
Hi, Liam.
So I think this record is. I'm not just saying this record is good enough that a major label is going to pick it up. That's what I think. It's that good. It's that exciting. It's
how many would you press?
I'm pressing 2,000 jackets. We put it out on CD also. And we gave the CD to Kalen. We're giving the CD to Kalen, 1,000 copies for him to sell when he plays.
Right. That'll be easy.
Yeah, he'll make that money.
Yeah.
And then we are going to press 2,000 jackets and 1,000 copies. And I think the 1,000 copies are going to go really quickly from the reaction I got.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think when you basically limit the amount that you're pressing, not having 10,000 of whatever these days, I think gain more excitement and more traction in your sales as well, because people feel almost that FOMO effect. Oh my God, I got to get it because there's only 1,000.
We're not limiting it to 1,000.
I know that, but I'm saying
we'll press 1,000, and then if it sells out like I think it's going to sell, we'll press 1,000 more. And I think by then, some label is going to hear this and go, "Oh, we'll sign this kid because he's really good."
Well, that's what,
we'll put this out. That's what I think is going to happen.
And that's the same model that I think Kevin Gray used with Kirsten Edkins with her record as well. You press 1,000 to begin with and see how it goes, and then move forward from there. So I mean, the financial risks for everyone aren't as high. It makes sense.
You know what? We did this for the love of it, because this is so good. We want this. This was such a good thing. It's captured. It was so good. We don't care what it's going to cost us. We're doing it. Stoughton's going to do the jackets. This is going to be,
of course,
high quality production. And I think we'll sell the second 1,000 out. We'll press 2,000 jackets. We'll have the jackets done. Well, I'm so excited by this. I'm telling you, I'm so excited by this.
I'll send you my address for a promo then.
Well, we're going to send promos out to the right people, and you may be on the list.
I might be on the list. We'll see. Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, Michael. Iron Mountain. We were texting earlier this week. You had a field trip to Iron Mountain with in the one in Pennsylvania. It's owned by Universal. And so tell the viewers about your field trip to Iron Mountain.
I'll tell you that, but first I want to tell you about one other exciting thing. Can I do that?
Well, absolutely.
These are lacquers from a record that Patrick Leonard is putting out. You know Patrick Leonard?
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, you know Patrick Leonard. But a lot of people don't.
I've heard the name. I don't know him.
He produced "Amused to Death" for Roger Waters. Okay,
I have the album.
Yes, he also produced the last 3 Leonard Cohen records, the really great ones, and he produced early Madonna records. He must have made $1 billion for.
I didn't know the Madonna link.
Yeah, that's interesting. And he's done other things. He had a group called Toy Matinee. I don't know if you know that. Great group. Anyway, he has this record he's putting out. This is a prog rock.
That's cut by Grunman there, it looks like.
Chris Bellman cut this.
Oh, Bellman, okay.
So what happened?
Question for you, just another off thing. You'll probably know this. Bellman, Grunman, same studio, different equipment.
Yeah, right. No, same equipment. Well, different board. But basically, once it gets to the cutting system, same cutting system. But it's different taste, different opinion.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I like Chris better for rock and Bernie for jazz. That's just me. But anyway,
Bernie loves the jazz, and Bernie grew up in that. He loved jazz growing up.
That's right. That's right. And he worked for Roy Dunan. He worked for Contemporary.
Yeah. So he knows He knows how it should sound.
Exactly. So, and they're both good on both, but I like Chris better for rock. So anyway, so Patrick produced this record. It's an extravaganza, like a 70s era prog rock record.
Oh, neat.
All the synthesizers on it are 70s era, synthesizers. It's a heavy production. It's a story. It's phenomenal. So he finished it, and so Martin Barr plays on it from Jethro Tull, and Ian Anderson plays on it. So, and a bunch of other people on. So he sent it to Bob Ludwig to master, and he said to Bob, I think I should put this out on vinyl first. There's such a buzz on vinyl. I can get this thing going on vinyl. What should I do? And you know what Bob told him?
No idea. Do it vinyl?
Call me.
Oh, this is a self-promotion again. You caught me on that.
No, you know what that's like for me? It's like, okay, I'm done. I've done and gone to heaven. Bob Ludwig, this is a guy that I started admiring Bob Ludwig in the 70s when I'd get these records to listen to that I just buy because I wanted to buy the record, and it was like, oh wow, this sounds incredible. And then I would look on the Intergroup. I don't even know who Robert Ludwig. Okay, that's good. And then another great, and then I started buying these records from like Nonsuch.
And I mean, I'm not trying to, make your head any bigger, but in terms of people that I want, I know just breathe and maybe get some water, but having you, maybe Steve Hoffman, and of course Bob Ludwig are my guys. I mean, I've had Kevin Gray and Bernie on, so that to me is amazing. So this is my dream to get Ludwig on, and I will tell you, and I have emailed him a bunch of times. We've gone back and forth, but he just doesn't want to jump onto a YouTube stream. So I'm like, come on, I got so much, even half an hour I want to talk to you for. There's so much we can talk about, but maybe one day.
Yeah. So anyway, so Patrick called me, and I don't know Patrick, and I was, so I knew who he was, and I said, oh, what's good? And he said he wants to do this on vinyl. What should he do? How should he do it? So we started talking, and I basically, you could say I produced this for him. So I decided it should be cut by Chris. He's the guy to do this kind of thing. And so the files got sent to Chris. Chris cut them, and then I thought it should be plated by Doran at RTI, not just at RTI, but by Doran. He's the guy. He's the magic guy. So
I've heard of his name. Yeah,
Doran, and he's got other good people now that can plate well. But Doran did this for him, and so Chris cut these acetates. Doran plated it. It's sitting there at RTI, waiting for the jackets to be done. And Patrick has changed the name a few times. This one says When It Comes to Giants, but he's changed the name. It's not.
It's question then. Does Anderson vocal on it at all? Does he have a vocal on it?
So no, he phoned it in.
Oh, okay.
But listen, it's gotten to the point where when it's done right, I think the drums were phoned in on this, but the drum sound on this record, I played this all over a Munich show. I went into the big rooms and played it for people, and they just went nuts for it. Because
so, where would we find that record when it's pressed?
Well, I don't know yet. It's not. Okay. He's still working out. In fact, today, his guy emailed me and said, give us a list of places we should be distributing promo copies to. So I did. And I started the list. I didn't give him the full list. And so it's going to have to go to some websites too. Yeah. And I'll consider sending you.
Well, I hope so. I think that would be nice.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how this goes. Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm having
we don't have much time. Iron Mountain. Let's get to it. Universal.
Okay, Iron Mountain. All right. So that was an unbelievable experience. So I got to go to Iron Mountain. So Iron Mountain is a former limestone mine in Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. And I got to go there with Pat Krause, who is the UMG guy that in charge of the archives. And it was, first of all, you have to give them your driver's license. They keep your driver's license and they give you a pass.
No phones probably either. No pictures.
No phones were okay because there's no phone coverage under there.
You can take pictures or no?
I took video. I have videos. The videos. People. It blew my mind. The whole place. It was like a science fiction.
You were
movie.
when you texted me. You were blown away by the experience. You're like You're in big caps. Wow, is what you said to me.
It was one of the most amazing places I've ever been to in my life. But I will say, I was at Claude Nobbs's house at the Montreal Jazz Festival. Claude was the founder of it, and up on the hill is Claude Nobbs's house, and it's full of memorabilia, and it's got Freddie Mercury's toilet paper, and it's got what he's got there, all this stuff. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. Anyway, It's full of memorabilia. I got to go there, and I've gotten to see a lot of great things. Going to Abbey Road, that was a great hearing Beatles tapes. Great thing. It was like being in a science fiction movie, and I got to video it. And so you'll see, and you go through this limestone place, and then you see, oh, there's where the CIA has their records kept. Oh, there's where Sony Music is. Oh, there's where UMG is. There's where Social Security Administration is. There's where it's Total Secret. Steven Spielberg keeps all of the memorabilia, all of the research he did for Schindler's List.
Amazing. Yeah, you're mentioning that to me. That's crazy.
Because he doesn't want the new Nazis to get it and burn it up. He wants it preserved. I mean, it's what I saw there was, and you'll see it because I got to film it all. Certain things I can't show, but I can show you.
Fair. How is it cataloged though? How does that work?
You'll see part of that.
Okay.
So it's not like organized the way you think it's organized, but not the way you think it's organized. And they're cataloging it all now on the special machine. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but you'll see stuff.
So it's probably for the viewers. If you remember the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, at the very end of that movie, when they put the Ark in storage, is that what? Yeah. So you put that in storage, and they basically pan the whole thing, and there you see the Ark and all the rest of the there's Bigfoot, there's all that. I mean, that's all the FBI secrets. Did you see the Area 50? Was it Area 54, whatever it's called, 51, whatever you call that in Arizona? They have memorabilia from that as well, probably do. But that's exactly when I walked in there. I said, "This is like Raiders of the," and then I love that. See the picture. If I can find the picture on my phone, find it. Yeah, I'd like to see that. No, I know you're pretty pumped when you were telling me about that. I've sounded like a really good time.
I find the picture. I don't. It's not going to be. Wait a second. Let me see. Because if I can find it, maybe I can't find it. But I'll look for it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'll be able to find it because it's not. So
you haven't put. You're going to put the vid out this week then sometime when you have time, or what?
I'm going to try. I got to put the audio research video first up. Then I'll tackle that one. But I walked into the room, and it is like you look as far as you can see. You know the movie Idiocracy? Did you see that movie?
No, I haven't.
Mike Judge's movie. See Idiocracy, and everybody see Idiocracy. Mike Judge made this movie for Fox Films, amazingly enough. But it predicts the future. Like for example, at the beginning of it, there's a Fuddruckers, the chain, and it goes into the future, and there's another burger place called can't say it. And like it shows in the future, people will sit and watch television. It'll be pictures of people mutilating themselves, people sitting there, and like big heavy things will bang into their private parts. But it's Mike Judge, who's a genius, Beavis and Butthead. So this walking into this place was like that. But it's real. So you walk into the room, and as far as you can see on both sides of this aisle are files up to floor to ceiling, records. I mean, tapes and videotapes and audio tapes, far as you can see. And then the guy said to me, "Okay, you see right at the end of the room, you can barely see. There's a black little
that's where the Ark is from Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's probably where
that's another room. That's the same size as this one, filled floor.
You were telling me that. That's crazy.
It was crazy. And then I was able to walk by and see, and they pulled out tapes. I had
so what tapes did you see? I was going to ask you that.
I had Billie Holiday Strange Fruit master tape in my hand.
What year was that? 1953?
50 something. Yeah. I had Steely Dan master tapes.
Hold on. Stop. Full stop. You had Steely Dan master tapes. Didn't the New York Times say that they were gone?
Yes.
Oh,
I had multi-tracks of Asia. So Asia exists on a multi-track tape. The master tape of Asia doesn't exist.
Well, no, is it Black Cow? They're missing the multi on that one too. Is it the Black Cow song? There's one of them. I can't remember. They had like some sort of Fagan had a reward, or if you found it, it went missing. Is it the Black Cow?
I don't know. But the multi-track tape was there. That I do. Okay. Maybe the multi-track of that disappeared, and a lot of things are cut up onto separate reels.
Okay.
Assembled, and there were a lot of individual tracks of a lot of records cut up on separate reels because they never came out on vinyl. They were just recorded separately.
So we're hearing it, to be confirming. We've hearing it. You saw the Steely Dan masters. They're alive and well.
I didn't see all of them. I know Chad's using all of them except for Gaucho and Asia are not.
Asia's a master or a copy of the master, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and I think Gaucho is that too. And you listen to the records that are coming out from Intervention on Peter Frampton. These are
that's another label I want to get on too, is the Intervention guys, because I think that's a real up and coming label.
Yeah,
these really good
Peter Frampton records sound phenomenal. In fact, I have an original, it's put away, of Winds of Change, a Japanese pressing. There's
such a good album,
great record. And he was on my. If you saw the interview,
I saw. Of course, I did. It was great.
That was so cool, so much fun. Yeah. So I have the Japanese pressing, and at that point in time, and that record never sounded good. The Japanese pressing never sounded good to me. At that point in time, they were using a digital preview head, so you were listening to a low-res digital file pressed on a record, and it's very clean, but didn't sound good. This one, cut from a copy of the master tape, is so much better. So much better. These three records, Wind of Change, Frampton, and Frampton's Camel, is all sound.
Are those just test pressings that you have there?
Yeah, they're TPs and white label, and these are pressed
RTI.
Which got a groove. They have the old SMT presses, and they press great records that got a groove.
God. And this is Intervention, just so the viewers know, right?
Yes, Intervention. Okay. Shane Bettner, and Shane is also the distributor of Lyra cartridges with a slightly different.
Yeah, I want to talk to Shane at some point. Maybe we can set that up. If you can help me with that.
I can try to help you. Maybe.
Man, you're just full of help today with me. Thank you.
I will be helpful to you. I will try.
Okay.
And then I had what record I was going to pull out here. Well, maybe I have it. There's not a good pressing. I don't know. Every place I go, I want a good pressing of where is it? I had it here. Oh,
you had a bunch for me to show.
This is a great record. This is not a great pressing. This is
I hear okay, so that's the silver label. I've heard a lot Undercurrent, so I've heard a lot of bad things about the Mofi one.
They shouldn't have put this out. It sucks. It's terrible.
Okay.
And this one from Pure Pleasure.
Show it up.
Same record.
So what makes
terrible.
a different? So it's the tape. It's nothing to do with Mofi or Pure Pleasure.
No, the tape isn't horrible. Whatever tape this is like maybe a cassette tape. I don't know what it was. They're both terrible. They just should not. So I've got originals that are great. The originals. It's a United Artists Jazz, and I don't think it's that. And that's available to the Tone Poet series. But if they're smart, they won't do this one because there is no good tape. It's a wonderful record.
I like that record. I
look for it every place I go. I look for a copy of United Artists Jazz. I can pull out the originals if you want to see it, but I have to get it and walk away. I don't do it.
That's fine. I don't want to sit and dance for the audience. They probably want.
It's nice to put out a record that people want, but don't put it out if it's not going to sound any good. Okay, some people say, no, Fremer, the music is good, put it out. Okay.
We're going to get a lot of comments from viewers on this chat today. I know, and I should say as well, and I tell this every time, I really enjoy the comments, so keep them coming. I know all my viewers, and Michael included, always read the comments. Sometimes you even reply to them, which I know you do. So sometimes. Sometimes you do, but it'll be interesting. Please comment. That's absolutely. So I
don't think I've said anything so controversial. What people will say is, Fremer, shut up, let the guy talk. But I'm here to talk.
No, right? But you hear the talk. I mean, I invited you on because you and I get along, and we're friends, and we're having fun. What else do you have? Do you have any? Like we were talking, I wanted to talk a little bit about. We only have a few more minutes, but best sounding original. Well, it's only almost an hour. It's crazy time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. You're coming back on. This is the state of the vinyl. Audiophile Vinyl Nation. So I mean, we're going to do this every 6 months, and we'll know what happens in December, right? So what do you got there? Any good originals?
I haven't played this. I just found an original of this.
Oh, I like that.
I've never seen an original of this, but Jerry's Records in Pittsburgh.
I hear a lot of good things about Jerry's Records. That must be quite the place.
Here's the story. Well, there's a video. I post my video of from Jerry Records.
Well, I saw that too. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, Jerry's Records is like a lot of used record stores. It's picked over. Tremendously picked over, but there's still a lot of great records. If you know what you want, you can find great records, not the top tier records, although they show up there and they go on the front wall where it says, most popular, and then they disappear. I mean, people come.
So do you have a plan going in, or you just do it, or do you have some sort of like actual game plan? Because you're not wasting time, right? I
was in Pittsburgh to go to Iron Mountain, so I said, I'm in Pittsburgh, let's go to Jerry's Records, so I bought this, I bought that, and I found an original Coasters album that I've only electronically reprocessed stereo that's horrible. Found an original mono pressing for like $25. I bought that. I love the coasters. And I found an Eddie Lockjaw Davis album.
Oh,
because this box, this is fantastic. And I still haven't had a chance to review it.
Hang on, that's the who pressed that?
Kraft did this.
That's Kraft, yeah.
Yeah, this is fun jazz. This
yeah.
You want to get into jazz with something that's on the edge of R&B, that's got a beat that's it's for
you
your
got
gut.
and you got Shirley Scott on that.
Shirley Scott and your testes. This is the box. It's down below. It's not like the ethereal jazz of, I know what change they're doing there, and it's in 12/9 time, and
I can't.
He's done an inversion of that chord, and then he's done a perversion of that chord.
I don't understand that either.
And now he's back to the melody. That's brilliant. I like that stuff too, but I mean, this is like you can really get into it.
So that you're basically, put it up again. That's more to layman's terms, jazz, right there is what you're trying to say. Cooking with Jaws, right? Is it Cooking with Jaws?
Eddie Lockjaw Davis with Shirley Scott. Cooking with Jaws.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It's Kraft Records, so that's a good. How much does that go for, Michael?
How much does it cost?
Yeah. How much is that box?
I don't know. I got it as a promo.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but you know what? And it's true. It's it's like 4 records, so you're gonna get a heavy dosage of it at once.
Yeah.
Anybody who likes R&B and gut bucket kind of stuff will like it. And then there's a really nice book that comes with it where you really learn. You want to learn about this, and this is recorded at in Rudy's place, I believe.
So we're talking mid to late 50s. That's Scotch tape, mid 50s.
Yeah, this is Hackensack, I believe.
So 58, 62, something like that.
Yeah, early. So yeah. And if I'm wrong about this being at Rudy's, I'm going to sound really stupid. I just can't keep up with all this stuff. Let's see.
That's fair.
Bernie cut this all analog, and
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let me see that. Does it say where it was recorded? Can you find out? It should say on the tape box, wouldn't it?
Stereo original. Yeah, maybe this wasn't. Oh yeah, Van Gelder. Yeah, I was right. Van Gelder. 58.
That's what I said. Didn't I say that? 58. Yeah. There you go.
You hit the head on the nail.
Rudy was busy in those latter 50s, with everything he was doing. Like I've
moved back from California to New Jersey and moved to Hackensack because a friend of mine had an apartment and he wanted me to take over the apartment while it went condo because he had to leave town I walked in front of Rudy Van Gelder's house just by accident. I didn't even know what it was, and I saw Van Gelder. Could that possibly be as Prospect? No. Prospect Street. I lived on Prospect Street.
Wow.
And I didn't know that's where his house was. And I said Van Gelder, and it was spelled out in soot above the door.
Oh, wow.
One of those wrought iron kind of things that was gone. Yeah. And then I said that couldn't be. And I walked past it, and there were double doors, and like a ramp. I said that's Rudy Van Gelder's house.
Oh my God! Wait,
pictures.
What year was that?
86.
Wow.
I mean, he wasn't in there anymore, but the house,
of course not.
And then one day I walked by it and it had been torn down and they built a professional.
What did you think? I know Rudy, and I have the CDs because back in the 80s, I really got into jazz when I was younger, and I bought I think it was the Rudy remastered CD series. It was the Jazz
RBG.
Masters. Yeah, I have all those.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah.
They sound horrible.
Well, I have all of them. I don't listen to them.
The other thing I wanted to show you, 2 things I want to show you. So this is kind of cool. So the Super Sense Lacquer series, you must have heard about those.
Of course.
Yeah, so I got one. He gave me Getz Gilberto.
Oh wow. Nice.
But he put a picture.
What? I saw a video of that just like a couple weeks ago on that one, didn't I? I think I did.
Yeah, he put a picture of me he found on the internet with my pet Coatimundi.
I love your hair.
Yeah. And he sent it to me, which is very nice of him.
How's it sound?
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Let's see it.
You want to see? It's really hard.
If it's, don't bother. It's fine. Don't hurt your fingers.
It's a package and it's got pictures and documentation and. You want to see cool things too? It's the original Nuggets album.
Oh, interesting. I've never listened to that. I recognize the cover.
Yeah, it's really fun. So the box set came out for Record Store Day with all the kind of extras. So I did the original national radio spot for this record in '72.
No kidding.
And then it came out on CD.
Uh-huh.
And so I sent Lenny Kaye a copy of the commercial, and he's sent me back this letter.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I sent him a bunch of funny commercials of mine, and he said, "Dear Michael, thanks for sending the really weird parodies and nuggets, Ed. You're really quite a chucklesome guy." I don't know if that was being sarcastic.
What year was that?
90.
That's 72. Is that 90s, right?
1990. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And as for the Trogs tape, I sent him the Trogs tape. You know that when the Trogs that's gotten out there where they fought in the studio. Did you ever hear that?
No, I didn't.
It's hilarious.
Oh God,
it is hilarious. I have it here.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, hope the enclosed nuggets tickles your fancy as well. So he sent me a promo box of the nuggets box, which is good. Anyway, I thought I'd show that to you.
I like that. I think I need to find one of those. That's kind of cool.
Yep. All right. One more thing I wanted to show you that's
sure.
Very cool. And this is a box set. This is for only a particular person. This is the Dorothy Ashby with strings attached box set. So Dorothy Ashby was a harpist, a concert harpist. And this is a whole series of records that she released. And this kind of music it's like button down. It's like concert jazz. It's like the modern jazz quartet. They wore tuxedos and they played this very cool jazz. So she played that kind of jazz too, but on a harp. And she went to the same school as Alice Coltrane went to, but a few years earlier. And I'm reviewing this record. It's incredible what's behind this whole story of Dorothy Ashby. And, she went through the usual troubles of, being a black woman trying to be
of course.
And so I'll get all my facts straight on this, but it's a wonderful story. And it's Kevin cut these almost all from tapes.
Okay. It's
for a particular person who likes that style of jazz, like cocktail jazz, but it's real jazz.
Now, is this one out or is that a promo? Has this been pressed?
Out. It's out, and it's a limited edition. It's for
where do we get this from?
This, I think you can find it online. It's a guy named James Batsford put it together. But if you like the modern jazz quartet and that kind of really cool jazz, and she plays like Wes Montgomery. She doesn't, you won't play this. Oh, it sounds like I've entered the gates of heaven. Oh, I'm in heaven. It's not like that. She plucks it and does things like. In fact, there's a review of one of her records in here that's in the.
Does it show how it's recorded? Like how many mics were on around the harp? Though I'd be curious to see how they set that up.
These are simply recorded, and Rudy cut. Rudy did these too.
Oh, so Rudy did those ones. Okay.
So it's good recording. So here's a record review of one of her records. And this one, I'm reading it, and the reviewer goes, "It would be easy to laugh, but I'm in favor of attempts to play this kind of music and blah blah." And then she talks. It's kind of like, Flighty has Miss Ashby gliding in a West Montgomery-like style of octave approach, but it's obviously this is a very detailed review by someone who knows. I think this is someone who really knows their jazz. It's not, and then you get to the end, and the initials are KD. And then you go into who reviews records for this magazine, and it's Kenny Dorham.
Yeah, I think he knows it. He knew a few things. I think.
So Kenny Dorham reviewed this Dorothy Ashby. So reading through this, this is what's great about records that you don't get streaming and you don't get anyplace else.
Well, that's the thing.
Here's someone I never heard of. She plays on Stevie Wonder's the double records that she does. There's this interlude in there. She plays on
Amazing.
That. He hired Alice Coltrane to play on it. But she didn't want to play what he wanted her to play. She wanted to play what she heard, what she felt. And he said, I don't want that. I want what I want.
Yeah.
He hired Dorothy Ashby, and Dorothy played the part the way he wanted it. But, a thing like this, you read through it and you listen to it, and it's a wonderful recording, and the music's really cool. And you learn, it fills in these gaps in your knowledge base, and there's nothing like that. It's absolutely.
And that's the thing with, you said the whole streaming thing. Think about it. When you're listening to that record, you have that to listen or to sort of read while you're listening and educate yourself. You don't get that with streaming. There's no tangibility to it at all, right?
There are some good notes. I'll say, Kobas or there are notes. They have good people writing notes, but they're online, and they're not.
I like holding it.
I do too. And I don't know how many copies of this record are being pressed, but this box. But it's really interesting music, and the story is wonderful. There's one record called, and she plays with Frank West. Frank West was when Count Basie's band.
Right.
So Frank West went to a nightclub and saw her play, I think in Detroit, I think it was, and he really took a liking to her and said, I'll bring you to New York. Let's go to Rudy's studio and record a record. And so it's her and Frank West, and that record is really cool. It's just like this, like meditative music, but it's jazzy, you know. And then the other ones, some of the other ones are more like, she opened for Dick Gregory.
Wow, that's amazing liner notes there. That's an incredible booklet.
It's a whole thing. It's her story, and it's really well told. And now there's a young jazz harpist on Impulse named Brandy. I forgot what her name is, but now I'm going to get her record. I saw her record at a show, and some guy held it and said, "You see that? You should get this. It's really cool." And I didn't buy it. I should have bought it, but I'll go online and I'll buy it. And
that's very nice. Segue, because we gotta split right away. Pacific Audio Fest coming up in Seattle. You were telling me you're going to that, and now apparently you're not.
No, I have too much. You know, I have too much to do. I have to attend to my website, and so there's a lot of stuff, a lot of videos I have to post. Like in December, I traveled across the country and I visited retail. I visited a retailer in New York, a retailer in Ann Arbor, and a retailer in California, and a retailer in New Jersey. Yeah. And interviewed them about their story, about their stores and how their stores are doing in the age of the internet and what their business is like. And it's a really interesting story. And I've got all these interviews and I want to get that posted.
Nice.
I've got other videos to post and equipment to review that's been sitting here way too long, but I can only do so much at a time, you know?
And you're here with me, and I appreciate the hour. So thank you.
And I'm happy to do that because there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of news that I've just brought forth, especially promoting my own record. You know,
I think
one more record. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
The new record by Amy Ray. You know Amy Ray?
I've heard of that one. Yep. Yeah.
So this is a new record that my friend Brian Spicer produced, and Brian Spicer is the Tedeschi and Trucks band on stage monitor mixer. So he travels all with them. Yeah. And he did this record with Amy Ray, and it's all analog, all recorded to tape because he's an analog fanatic.
Who cut that one?
This was cut. I think Kevin cut this. What else? Okay. It's hard to keep up with this.
I know it is. It really is.
Yeah, Kevin cut this, and it sounds wonderful. It's all analog. So how do you think it sounds? It sounds really good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And she made a record called "If It All Goes South," which is really kind of funny because it's about, to a great degree, it's about being in the South, and right now it's a tough time for a lot of people who are marginalized in different ways, but people who think they can get far in this world by marginalizing the marginalized. And anyway, I don't want to get too political.
No, I understand. I understand it. I get
it. It's a really nice record. She's got a lot of interesting people playing on it. And
show the back. Let's see the back of it. What's it look like? Oh, it's a gatefold.
The back of it. She's in New York in the back.
That's a neat picture. And then the gatefold. I like that. Yeah.
And in the front, she's in the country.
And then the open. Is it open?
And it'll open. The country is open, but it's going to close. Yeah,
I like it. Very nice.
I think it just got announced, but we knew for a long time Bob Ludwig is going to retire at the end of this month. Yeah, he's retiring.
I didn't know that. How would I know that?
I think it just came out today. I got it.
Man, you're breaking news on this channel today. Bob Ludwig retiring. There we go. Then he's never going to answer my emails again. Man, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah. Yep. He's retiring, closing Gateway at the end of the month. That's what's happening. Should I go up there and interview him? I should, shouldn't I?
Well, you're gonna scoop me, obviously, if you do that. But that's
I should do. I have a history with him.
You have a history. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just some Canadian boy. What do they want to talk to me for?
I think I should do that. But God, another trip. I don't know. Or I should do a Zoom call with him. But a Zoom call is not as good. I want to sit face to face.
How about you set the Zoom call up for me and I'll interview him so you have time to do other things?
Yeah, sure, pal.
How does that sound?
Pal.
Okay.
Anyway,
fine. All right, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna. What's that?
I'm having the best time, and my website's going great. Good. And the Absolute Sound is treating me great, and I'm doing good reviews.
I watch all that stuff, and I'm not trying to. I mean, again, you and I are friends, and I will say I enjoy your reviews, the written reviews, a lot. I really do. I get a lot out of those. I retain a lot of that, and I appreciate what you're doing there. It's some really good work.
Thank you, and I'm going to keep doing really good work as long as I can keep doing this,
Well, I know we were talking about it. I mean, I know your age, but I mean, you don't look a day over 65, and you got more bloody hair than me. I'm 50 years old.
I'm closer to 80 than
I know.
70.
I know. That's amazing. How do you feel?
I
Like
feel it.
so the time, that's not a bad bicep. So
No.
50 years old to 76, like with how much change did you feel physically and mentally? Has there been much?
Okay, I'm in better shape physically now. I can still do three sets of 20 push-ups, no problem.
That's amazing.
I'm in better shape. I got a flat stomach. So I look better. I feel better.
We don't want to see your abs though. So don't
I would
do that
take my
to
shirt
us.
off for you. I'm as vain as ever.
It's okay.
And I think my face looks good, and I would say to young people watching, if you want to have your face look good when you get older, there's a brand of face products I've been using since I was 21, and all my friends made fun of me and called me names. And
oh boy.
It's called Dr. Hauschka's. It's made in Germany. It's not cheap, but I started using it when I was 21. I don't miss a day when I put Dr.
Oh my God. He just plugged it. Now you're going to get another 3 months.
In fact, when I turned 75, I sent them a letter and I thanked them. And they sent me a nice gift basket. Even Dr. Hauschka sends him free stuff. He's totally corrupt.
I really appreciate you being completely transparent with all these promos. I mean, I think the viewers are going to like that. So in the comments, they can't say, "Oh, that Fremer, he's getting all this free stuff." You've actually been transparent, 100%. That's great.
Yeah, and I buy thousands and thousands of dollars worth of records.
Well, I appreciate that. You've been doing this for longer than I've been alive, and I appreciate all that. And one of the best lines you've ever used that you and I talked about a couple of a couple of interviews ago is like, "You've forgotten more stuff than most people know." I love that line. I'll never forget it.
And people, and I still always meet people who know more and have forgotten more than I know.
That's
really
crazy.
Important to pay attention to people who can teach you stuff, and there's a lot of people
and that's what I do here with my channel. As you know, I mean, I want people on that I can grow with and learn. I'm just a hobbyist like everyone that's watching right now. And that's why I get people like yourself that've been doing it for 50 plus years, because I like to learn every day. I don't go out there and say, "Hey, this is the best album because I tell you it is." I mean, that's a bunch of bullshit as far as both of us, right? I like to basically listen to you, listen to the people I get on, the mastering engineers and everyone, and then make a decision that way. But I mean, at the end of the day, and I hate using that term, but it's subjective. It's about what you feel sounds the best on your gear in your listening room, etc. I mean, that's how it boils down, right?
Just watch out for people who post stupid stuff on the forums that are stupid stuff, like the person who said, "I don't like Kevin Gray's cut because he ruined the Roy Thomas Baker sound." Roy Thomas Baker didn't master any records. He made a record.
George Marino mastered that record.
Yeah, and then Kevin put what's on the tape. "Oh well, the Beatles remasters have more bass on them, and the mono box has more bass on them because Paul McCartney is still alive, and so he made them pump the bass up." No. That's not what happened.
No, it's not what happened.
Don't make crap
Speaking of, okay, we're gonna Beatles talk. We're gonna go over time here because we have to do Beatles talk. They just came out with a new announcement yesterday or the day before. Or was it last? I can't remember. Tuesday. It went Monday of this week. They're doing a brand new song with John Lennon's voice using AI technology from Peter Jackson. Is it Now and Then? I think there's a song. McCartney came out and said, "It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's really, we're getting all the, the vocals here and we're getting all the instruments here." That's a song that during the anthology, that George Harrison refused to play because he said it sounded terrible. So it'd be interesting to see what they've done with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they could make it sound good now, the way things are. It's still not going to be the real thing, but I don't care. I don't care about that. It's.
And then I think too, I will say this. I do believe they're going to be coming out with "Please Please Me Through to Help" in the next year in a couple of different box sets, the reimagined Giles Martin version. That's my call. You know what?
They should do that, because when you have all the vocals on one side and all the, well, you mix it to mono and it sounds great. So he's going to make a stereo version. The problem is that technology that Peter Jackson's people came up with, it's not really perfected in the sense that it's like, I've seen a hologram of Michael Jackson at the Michael Jackson show. It doesn't look like Michael Jackson's really there, but it's a close facsimile of a real person being, if it's far enough away. And the Revolver box set, I don't like it in stereo because nothing sounds, it's spread out, but the instruments don't sound real.
have the authentic
right.
sound that you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I always like with Revolver, I hate the stereo version of the Mofi, or it sounds muddy and it bugs me a lot. I even have sibilance on my Michelle song of Mofi. I just don't like it. It gives me a headache. But
the original British.
Well, yeah,
great. They sound great.
I mean, I have the mid-'80s Parlophone stuff stereo. It sounds really good.
That's good.
Well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
it's not perfect. There are problems, but I still like those stereo mixes. And
yeah,
that's all I can say. And the mono box is great.
Yeah, I have that, of course.
That's to be really good.
And I mean, there's rumors, they're going to press another mono box. I don't think they're going to. I mean, they
should. Why
should.
Did they stop making that? It's ridiculous.
Because when they did it, and I was talking to the guys at Abbey Road, and I asked them the same question. And when they first pressed it, it took them a while to sell all those. So they were worried from a sales perspective where they were at. I don't know.
No, they ran out. No, they sold as many as they made.
It took a while. It took a while.
What? Of the stereo of the mono box set?
It didn't sell out automatically. It wasn't sold out the first day, was it?
At the first day, but it sold out.
And yeah, 2014. But I mean, so maybe they do it.
When did it come out? It came out in
2014.
Yeah, so by 2016, it was, and the prices went up and up.
Oh, I remember that at Costco here in Canada, and I mean, you can get the mono box. I swear I didn't buy it then, but I do have it. I think it was like $300 Canadian or $400 Canadian at the time, and there was piles of them.
Yeah, but they eventually sold out.
Yeah.
Listen.
So I mean, I would be nice. I think collectors would be pissed because their $1,600 box set won't
Don't buy records as financial instruments. That's
there you go.
Not whether it's
investment 101.
Invest money in the stock market through a good person who knows what handles your money properly, or put it in annuities, or not. Don't buy annuities.
My job before this, I was actually, when I was 21 years old, I was a stockbroker for 20 plus years. So I do know that industry.
That's where your hair went, I guess.
That and I have 6 daughters altogether, so that's another reason where my hair went.
They have their hair, right? They have their.
Well, of course they do, but I mean, my oldest is 19 and my youngest is 3, so it's like, oh my gosh! So I'm constantly on my toes.
You're in good shape for having that many kids.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, we're going to leave it at that. We ran overtime. Really nice chatting with you again. So the state of the Audiophile Vinyl Union basically is that there's a lot of, I guess, more pressings, and he's going to be more selective. This isn't
52 million. They're saying 52 million new records are going to sell in 2023. That's a lot of records.
Buy a record player, because most 50% don't have them. It's ridiculous.
Well, no, 20% don't have a record player. 20% have a record player and don't use it. That adds up to the 40%.
There you go.
Records. That's just.
Stay safe. Spin lots of vinyl, Michael. Nice chatting with you.
Good chatting with you, man.
Bye-bye.